Welcome everyone. Thanks for joining Destination LoRaWAN web series. Today's webcast will be about strengthening environmental sustainability and people's safety in India. I'm Ali Hosseini, CEO of SenRa, and I will be your host today. A few housekeeping notes. At the bottom of your screen, there are multiple application engagement tools you can use. All the engagement tools are resizable and movable, so feel free to move them around to get the most out of your desktop space. If you have any questions during the webcast, you can submit them through the Q&A engagement tool. A copy of today's slide deck and additional help materials are available in the resource list. We encourage you to download any resources or links that you may find useful. For the best viewing experience, we recommend using a wired internet connection, closing any background programs, and make sure your computer speakers or headset are turned on and volume up so you can hear the presenters. The webcast is being streamed through your computer, so there's no dial-in number. Some networks cause slides to advance more slowly than others, so logging off your VPN is recommended. If your slides are behind, I think you can simply push F5 on your keyboard and that should refresh the page. You can find additional answers to some of the common technical issues located in the Help Engagement tool at the bottom of your screen. An on-demand version of this webcast will be available approximately 48 hours after the webcast and can be accessed using the same audience link that was sent to you earlier. So let's get started. The LoRa Alliance is an open nonprofit association focused on standardizing and promoting the LoRaWAN protocol. The LoRa Alliance develops and maintains an open specification and makes certification available globally through the LoRaWAN for LoRaWAN devices. As you can see in the image here, we have around 100 plus major carrier deployments that are taking place around the world. As I mentioned already, there is a LoRaWAN certification that we provide, which is part of our open standard effort from a global perspective. We do have some of the largest IoT group members, including Cisco, ST, Amazon, and just to name a few. And something really special, we already have crossed the 100 million sensor deployment mark that are currently deployed around the world today. So why LoRaWAN? Differentiators and benefits are listed here for you. The first thing is the flexible deployment options that you have from a public or a private perspective. LoRaWAN is set up in a way where you can deploy low-cost infrastructure for public or private projects. The firmware updates over the air is something that LoRaWAN supports, which is something other competing technologies do not do. And it does have its own geolocation capabilities. We are bidirectional security, which is 128 AES encryption. From the time the data leaves the device all the way till the time it's received and decoded on the application platform. One of the greatest parts of the technology is actually the battery life. It has a long life, literally around 10 plus years. It does depend on how you configure your device, how many times you transmit the uplink, but overall it gets really great life expectancy. The thing that we like here in India is being able to bring the coverage to areas where cellular coverage is poor or non-existent, especially in rural areas or even in the urban areas where the coverage is not reaching. And you'll also see in some of our presentations some information about that exactly with the use cases that you'll see. Finally, the deep penetration. LoRaWAN is great to penetrate concrete, ground, steel, and the use case that I'll talk to shortly will actually demonstrate that capability. So global LoRaWAN networks, we have about 162 countries with LoRaWAN coverage today and around 148 LoRaWAN network operators that are present around the world. Today, you'll see the webcast agenda. We have a great lineup. I will start off the session discussing LoRaWAN for smart utilities and giving you an example, a use case of a water meter deployment that's actually taking place today in India. Follow that, it will be a presentation from Praveen Arora, which is the Vice President of Internet of Things for Tata Communications, and he'll be talking about worker safety and productivity, as well as streetlight monitoring. At the end, you'll have a presentation from Amol Virak, which is the founder and director of Eash Reach, and he'll give you a great presentation on how to save trees with a tree theft monitoring solution. Finally, I will end it with closing remarks. So let's dive right into the first presentation, which will be done by me. Again, I'm Ali Hosseini, SenRa CEO and founder. We are a LoRaWAN network operator in India. We've been deploying networks since 2017, and we currently have a LoRaWAN presence within 74 cities around the country. What we really are starting to see that's kind of the anchor project for our networks is the utility segment, metering in general from water, gas, and electricity. But the first couple of projects that we started to do in India, even all the way back in 2018, was actually around the water metering. The first project we did was in Wardha, Maharashtra, where we deployed a POC for ultrasonic water meters that were smart water meters, leveraging the LoRaWAN technology for domestic connections. And that kind of kicked it off to where we started to gain a little bit more expertise in that segment and really started to be able to show the smart cities the power of the technology. Overall, what the requirements are from the smart city authorities is they want to automate their domestic water metering services, which include the ability to monitor water flow, determine if there's any leakage happening within their pipe system or directly at the meter, understand what the consumption looks like at the city level, as well as the individual domestic homes, and be able to get real-time meter availability throughout that entire process. Some of the challenges they're facing currently when they don't have smart AMI water meters is the fact that there's not really any real-time meter reading availability. The operational costs are too high. There's not really a streamlined billing system that they can make sure that it's accurate with the actual readings that are taking place in consumption. And basically, they want to be able to determine the source of the water and revenue loss, which is not really something they're able to do with the current metering deployments that they have. So being involved in the water metering segment, we have already plans to deploy 200,000 smart water meters throughout the country over the next 2 years. We really do feel that the connected water meters will help utilities and municipalities boost the efficiencies, as well as accelerate sustainability efforts at the best possible total cost of ownership. And it will make better informed decisions that will then support the regulatory compliance and requirements. Overall, it's a massive benefit where you get increased billing accuracy and you improve the operational and management efficiencies. So what I want to talk about next is a project that we're actually working on currently. It is in a smart city in West India, and it's a project that supports around 10,000 smart water meters. They're being deployed over the next 3 months. The picture you see here is actually a gentleman at one of the sites. He's removing the old meter and installing a new smart water meter that will be in replace of that. Currently, there is around 3,000 water meters that are already installed throughout the city, and they are communicating with our LoRaWAN network. And we're proud to say that we have not had any packet loss or loss of services to date as part of this project. So when we deploy a network, it's not as easy as just climbing a tower and plugging in the gateway. We have a lot of activities prior to even sending our field engineers to deploy infrastructure. We do a lot of planning with virtual software that we use to determine what the possible RF propagations would be. This image that you see here is actually the actual city deployment. The blue dots are the water meters that are to be deployed throughout the city. The green circles are where we had existing network in that location. And then the red circles are the planned networks that we were looking to deploy in order to provide proper coverage for the meters. This was a good 2-month process, working with the city officials, with the system integrator to collect this information. And for those that are involved in projects with smart cities, it's not always easy to obtain information on the exact locations of where the devices will be installed. But we were very fortunate in this case to be provided with the lat longs of every meter that was going to be installed. Our virtual software, we've been able to determine it's about 97% accurate prior to deployment. After we do the virtual planning, we then send our team out and start doing the installations. So once we get onto the field, we not only install the equipment, but we also do testing to make sure that the software that told us what the network would look like is actually performing the way it's expected. So we have engineers that will walk around the sites, go to the meter locations with equipment and collect data to determine if the signals are good enough to provide the high quality, reliable services that we want to provide. We do have an internal tool, which this is an image of the maps that get generated from that internal tool we've developed that aggregates all of the data of our surveyors, our field engineers, and then it also gets populated onto the map with the correlating locations of the gateways and signal strength, PSR, those kind of things that we want to determine. A really cool accomplishment that we got out of this testing is we were able to get almost 14 kilometers of coverage from a meter that was installed 1 meter under the ground in concrete casing. With a really, really good PSR. And so it was a big achievement for us. We normally don't see 14-kilometer coverage from one site in urban areas, but the way we had strategically planned our infrastructure deployment, we were able to get extended coverage in densely populated areas. So what do we do? Why do we do this? We want to make sure that we provide high quality services that are reliable. When we do our network planning and deployments, we do make sure that we provide redundancy in case one of the sites go down. We have a backup to support the connectivity of those meters, which also then densifies our network coverage. If our field engineers, while they're on the ground, determine the signal is not as desired, then they make a call on the ground to potentially remove a gateway from a site and install it in another location that would then address those issues. So it's been quite a journey so far. We're really excited to see how this will turn out at the end when all 10,000 devices are deployed. But so far so good, knock on wood. We're really happy with the results, and so is the client. That is my presentation. What I will do next is introduce the next speaker. His name is Praveen Arora. He's the Vice President of the Internet of Things for Tata Communications. He's going to give you guys a wonderful presentation on worker safety and productivity that they've done, as well as some examples on street lighting where you can focus on energy savings. Over to you, Praveen.
Hi, thanks, Ali. Thanks for the quick introduction. I am Praveen Arora. I will be walking you through the next section on worker safety and productivity with LoRaWAN. For a quick introduction, IoT business unit is part of the Tata Communications, one of the business areas where it's been incubated to provide a complete end-to-end solution across various verticals and various industries. It not just covers the network, but also the network, hardware, devices, sensors, platform, application, as well as managed services around those. So we will cover two of the examples here in context to the LoRaWAN. And we will give you a quick introduction in terms of how it is deployed and what are the challenges we faced and how it covers the benefits for the end customer. Firstly, I'd like to highlight from an India perspective, we have the dedicated pan-India LoRaWAN network which is growing exponentially. Currently, it's covering about 50 cities, and which includes the highways and big state interconnectivity network points as well. So put together, we have covering about 0.6 million devices, which includes various network technologies as well. There are other platforms and businesses around which the IoT solutions are being provided. We are providing innovative solutions catering to resource efficiencies across employees, assets, facilities, as well as utilities. And we have built in the insights and intelligence, which can easily be integrated with the existing applications in any organization. Our solution is more focused towards the end business goal. So it is more towards a use case addressing, which can be tailored to a firm's requirement and size of operations. As we also cater to a established platform which is available, which can even connect off your existing devices which are available in your network to provide an integrated solution. We have a comprehensive ecosystem for devices and intuitive end user applications. So in totality, so we provide an end-to-end solution covering from network, platform, device, application ecosystem, which helps in developing your specific meeting your business need across multiple use cases. We will look at the connected worker solution. This is primarily focused on the employee tracking and safety. And of late, it has also included social distancing amidst the COVID environment and the pressing needs for the various industries to maintain certain compliances within the working environment. These are IoT-based and LoRaWAN-based connected badge, as well as watches, which helps organization tracks its employees as well as contractual manpower. These devices also are having an alert mechanism which helps improve employees' well-being by warning the workers and supervisors in the event of any danger or any areas if they are entering which are hazardous in nature. So a lot of benefits are there. Primarily, when we look at the salient features from the product itself, it has location tracking, and one of the benefits, as we have seen, of the LoRaWAN, it helps also in the exact location identification as well. So it can also enable, it also enables rather automatic attendance, performance analytics as well. It has got the SOS signaling in case of SOS is required by an employee or an executive in case of emergency. It has got an audio alarm and a geofencing features which identifies which area one worker is supposed to work and whether he is in that region or not, or he's entering into a hazardous zone. While we look at these challenges, why this solution was the need of the hour in certain industries, this is currently spread across. We have done the implementations across resources, pharma, FMCG, and they have been significant challenges which were there and which this solution has overcome in a very, very frugal way. Given the Indian context, the solutions which are designed, the need of the hour is to achieve the maximum benefit from the minimum possible investments. The key challenges that most of the customers were facing on the lack of visibility of the employee movement or their proximity to their work zones. The traceability of employees during during an emergency, say in a health condition, if one needs to be available to attend to that in case of emergency where the person is located. So that was one of the needs. Employee movement, like in certain resources industry, it becomes a lot of hazardous area, or in pharmaceutical industry where you're not supposed to enter in a particular or restricted zone. So is it safe enough? So you want to ensure that the employees or the workers are not entering any of those restricted or hazardous areas. Obviously, it covers the attendance as well, and so alerts, as I mentioned, during attendance, accidents and overcrowding. So these solution of cards and watch helped in actually tracking of employees. It includes the LoRaWAN based protocols and the network underlying network technology within that. The alerts for entry into unauthorized areas are detected through it, and detection even of the abnormal conditions or a fault detection. Say a supervisor can monitor this all this from his dashboards. So there are a suite of cards or watches along with the beacons which are installed, and it demarcates the special zones within each of these, and which can be defined as a safe zone or a hazardous zone. But when a person walks out of the facility, the device turns off, so there's a complete privacy to the worker or the employee. Another example which has been highlighted is in the case of the hazardous areas, where, say, a proximity to the hazardous gas environment which is there, or maybe there is a loading unloading condition or a fault detection which is there in case of in these high hazard zones. So you are always, the supervisor is always available with an alert if a person is working in a particular zone and it's a hazardous zone, or if there is a SOS or a fall, so that they can be attended to immediately. So this has helped actually in a reduction of number of incidents and avoidance of these incidents as well. If you look at globally, about huge billions of dollars of cost are of work-related injuries and illness are there, so which can be easily be avoided. And some of these have also helped in the reduction in operating costs by receiving the timely information, improved employee satisfaction because he knows in case of emergencies there is somebody available for them, improved worker safety, and also in quick emergency responses. Also, it helps the organization from an efficiency and productivity improvement, because it is also ensuring the employees or the workers who are supposed to work in a particular zone, how much time they are devoting vis-a-vis the output which is there. So it also indirectly, or a direct measure in certain cases in certain work zone environments, it directly helps them in measuring the worker productivity and efficiency from the throughput and the availability of the worker. I will move to one of the other solutions, similar, which we have deployed at scale, is on the smart street light. These are pertaining to one of our smart cities solutions. Here, the streetlights automation is one of the key focus. These include the LoRaWAN based controller. These can be fitted on any luminaire, LED primarily, because a lot of energy savings are coming through LED, converting these streetlights into the LEDs. And the controller can be either a NEMA, it's a specific a standard which can get mounted onto the lamp, or a wire-based non-NEMA controller can be there. Both we are providing. These are microcontroller based device. There are a number of solutions we are running through in the automation screen, where the entire system is integrated through a command control center. All the data that comes through has the power of either the basic switch on and off function, programming these to a sunrise and a sunset calendar based timing, or they can be a seasonal calendar that can be there. You can run a schedule on that. There can be various reports, and all these can be all this has been integrated with the master controls of a smart city mission as well. So all these things we see are tightly integrated, not just a layer of a device or a network, but spans across the platform, the application, and the analytics and insights to make a business decision. And it has helped in significantly reducing cost of operations as well. So some of the features which I've highlighted is lamp on off, lamp dimming, fault monitoring, electricity theft detection, LED lamp metering, and daytime electricity consumption, which actually helps in quantification in the direct business benefit in the smart cities mission. So this has also been scaled across number of cities, and there are a lot of variants of these which have also come into the existing streetlight retrofitments as well. So these are some of the examples I've had to showcase in terms of how LoRaWAN is impacting and benefiting in a big way the population in India. These are some of the examples from 2 example tracks which I picked up. Thank you. Back to you, Ali.
Thank you so much, Praveen Arora. That was an amazing presentation and very insightful. Our next presenter will be Amol Vedak. He is the founder and director of Eash Reach Solutions. He's got a really great use case about tree tracking, and I'm pretty excited for it. So Amol, I'll hand it over to you.
Thanks, Ali. Thanks for a kind introduction. I'm Amol Vedak, Eash Reach Solutions, and I'll be talking about tree tracking using LoRaWAN. Well, this is how I see my world. Green, huge trees, more of oxygen, less of carbon dioxide. But what am I living into right now? And what is it getting converted to? It's a pile of woods. It's cut forests. That is what I'm experiencing. By the way, who cuts these trees? Generally, these trees are cut by the industries and the thieves. Industries are regulated by the government. Government still has regulations to ensure that the less trees are cut by the industry. But thieves are prevalent. Wood chopping has been prevalent across the globe. It's been timber, sandalwood, thickwood, carewood, redwood. These are the kind of trees that have been cut all over across the globe. For this session, I'll be focusing on India as a context and the sandalwood tree as my tree. Let's understand the ecosystem of India and how the sandalwood happens to be in India. In India, almost like 9,000 square kilometers of area is cultivated with the sandalwood. Karnataka being one of the largest cultivation centers, it covers almost 5,245 square kilometers. Tamil Nadu covers 3,040 square kilometers, Kerala 15 square kilometers, Andhra Pradesh 200 square kilometers, and so on. In a specific square kilometer, in 1 square kilometer, there are almost like 98,000 trees that are planted. Now you can simply put some calculations in place. 9,000 into 98,000, how many trees they would be? Everybody knows that the sandalwood is a precious element, almost like 45,000 rupees a kg, or ranging to up to 1.5 lakh per kg. That gives, I think, enough incentive for theft, and which is prevalent which is obvious in the news that are appearing. Look at these news. 25th June, criminal on record arrested with 20 kg of sandalwood. 21st December 2020. These are 2020 news, by the way. Gang of sandalwood thieves busted in Bhopal, 3 held. Now, when the forest officials come to Eash Reach for the solution for such things as a business problem, we come up with an innovative solution. We come up with a net. The net that covers the stem of the tree. The stem of the tree, the net is also attached with the LoRaWAN device, which has a GPS installed on it. It identifies, the LoRaWAN device has the ability to identify the acceleration. It checks whether there's somebody hitting on the stem with an axe. And it identifies and it starts communicating to the forest authorities that there has been some mishappening around. If somebody cuts through the net, it again gets activated. Imagine in a worst case scenario, somebody really cuts the tree and it starts dragging it. The GPS gets activated and starts really gathering information about the current location of the tree. With this, we are able to essentially help the authorities identify the possible scenario or possible thefts. If not all the time, at least the net also acts as one of the deterrent factors for the theft. The thieves understand that there is a technology which is installed there and kind of keep away from it. Well, developing the technology is one part of it, but deploying a technology in these scenarios in the forest is quite a task. Here I have listed some of the points, but there were many other challenges. Some of them which we could actually cover, overcome with LoRaWAN. Internet connectivity. Well, in forest you don't get 2G, you don't get 4G, you don't get sophisticated communication mechanism. There you end up deploying your own private network. We did so. Dense foliage. As every forest, there will be dense foliage. There will be thick coverage of the trees. with technologies like Bluetooth and all, you can't really imagine that you will be able to penetrate through these kind of thick. Whereas with LoRaWAN's unique ability to pass through this thick, we were able to communicate data to the LoRaWAN gateways, which are placed on the other side. Device maintenance. This is quite interesting. Visiting forest has always been a costly affair. And especially if it is infested, if the forest is infested with thieves, it's dangerous as well. With LoRaWAN's ability to consume less power, the battery life that you get helps you sustain for a longer number of years. Coverage. Yeah, I mean, covering the entire forest is quite a bit of task. With LoRaWAN's gateway placed around, you can hope that, or you can essentially identify the specific location, as Ali was mentioning, as he does the site survey and all. Okay, you identify a specific location and you start putting up your infrastructure, LoRaWAN infrastructure. The deployment. In forest, you cannot imagine that you would go and start, and one of your employees or your helper will start putting up technology or installing technology on each of the tree and will spend an hour or so. You have to do it fast. With LoRaWAN's plug and play devices that we built, we were able to do so. I see that this technology further is going to be useful for other use cases in the forest, like fire detection. And not only detecting the fire, but also controlling it. The world has already experienced the case that has happened in Australian forests. Observing the environmental factors like rain, maybe wind, maybe the humidity, and so on and so forth. We can also identify or gather the information about the soil quality of the forest. With LoRaWAN, we were able to achieve some of the important aspects of this environment and how we can overcome these thefts. With LoRaWAN, we could make the difference. Thank you. Just want to introduce you all with the Eash Reach solutions. We are one of the pioneering companies in the area of when LoRaWAN actually started in India. We were one of the first earlier companies who adopted LoRaWAN, and we started deploying our network in as a private network. With L&T Power, we almost deployed 1,000+ units back then. Please look at the download sections. We have some of the use cases and case studies that we've done in the previous work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amol. That was very fascinating. I never ever thought that you could use netting to integrate with LoRaWAN devices and be able to save trees. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty impressed, and congratulations on your success there. I want to give a special thanks to our sponsors for the Destination LoRaWAN series. We couldn't have done this without their help. Thank you specifically to Machine Q, a Comcast company, as our Destination LoRaWAN Gold sponsor, and also our two silver sponsors, Birds and Charter Communication. Thank you to our LoRa Alliance members who participated today. If you are implementing LoRaWAN and are not yet a member, please take a few moments to learn about the amazing benefits that are available to our members by viewing the membership benefits document under the resource section. The LoRa Alliance drives the future of LoRaWAN, and we want all of you to help shape the future. The LoRa Alliance will be bringing new content nearly every week as part of the Destination LoRaWAN series. Please visit the Destination LoRaWAN Engagement Hub and sign up for the notifications for upcoming webcasts. If you or a colleague would like to view the webcast again, an on-demand version will be available in approximately 48 hours and can be accessed using the same audience link that was sent to you directly. Thank you again to all our speakers and to all of you who have tuned in. We look forward to sharing more with you in the upcoming events that we've got planned. Thank you. And with that, I will say goodbye.